Okay, musicians, I got a couple of new things to show you. Well, first, these are the old things. These are ones that I built already in the land of MIDI controllers. Joysticks, which could do control changes or pitch bend. Mod wheels, this is a single wheel that goes to any control change. And the wheel, which is a combination. So like this is modulation, and then you have pitch bend. Well, one of the things with the joystick side of things is folks like the joystick idea, but they say, can you make something bigger? And I said, of course I can. So I've had a project that has been kind of sitting around for a while, and I'm finally getting back to it and putting it into production. This is a larger analog joystick. It's a more expensive component than the gaming sticks that are in here, but it's also quite a bit larger and it's got a much longer throw. So for folks who are doing some more subtle pitch bends and need a little bit more accuracy in the range, these bigger sticks may be of use for them. So since I have to go with a bigger stick, I have to go with a larger enclosure. Obviously, it can't fit this into here. And since I was going with a larger enclosure, I decided to kind of make this the more premium product with more stuff in it. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that's going to be inside, some of the guts. You have the stick itself. Now, this particular one, I've taken the spring out. So this for the like the orb users, or if you use an XY stuff and you need the stick to stay in place, I could build these that will do that. If you're looking more for the pitch bend, I keep the springs inside and you have that spring-loaded one. So that's one cool thing with this stick. I could do it either way, just like my other ones. I make these either way. What is being added, this is the microcontroller, which I use in all of my MIDI stuff. It's a little breakout board. Now, since I have space, this one is going to have a little screen inside of it. So I'm thinking I'll show the current MIDI channel. Maybe I'll show what the current functions are, like X is pitch bend and Y is modulation or whatever. And since I have a screen, I could give more feedback and have like a proper settings, so you can update settings and see what they are, which I think would be cool. And then the other thing I did with this one is I'm going to put in, now my sticks, this one doesn't have it, but most of my sticks now have at least TRS serial MIDI out. That's the 3.5 millimeter Type A MIDI serial out. I'm going with this board and this particular one. I can't put this in my other stuff because it's too big, but it's perfect for this bigger thing. And this will have MIDI in and out. And so the in is going to be important because I'm trying to solve the Nord Electro problem, where how do you put a pitch bend into a Nord Electro 5? And there is a way to do it in a kind of a weird way where you take the out of the Nord going into a controller. The controller basically passes through whatever commands you're doing and adds in the pitch bend. So there's some magic that's going on, and I'll have some test users play with that. But anyhow, that's part of the reason I originally had this, but just because this is kind of more of a premium thing and I wanted to have the ability to do in and out. So those are the kind of the guts inside of here. And for the enclosure, I've gone through a couple of design iterations, and at this point it is looking something like this. So it's about 4 inches by about 2.5 inches wide, and has the stick mounted there, but it's about maybe 1.5 inches tall. On the back, you're going to have USB, and then you're going to have the MIDI in and out. And this one, a lot of my stuff has a small recessed button which handles channel changing. This is actually going to be a setup button or a settings button. So you'll be able to toggle the modes between like run and program. So like you'll press it, it'll go to program mode, you'll navigate with the stick and choose, okay, I want to change my MIDI channel to whatever, and then click it to run mode, and it acts like a regular controller again. This hole here is where the display is going to go, so you have the display right up front there. So that is that. Now, one other thing, and this is kind of a two-in-one, I got a request again for Eurorack mounts and the ability to take something like my wheel product and put it in a Eurorack friendly setup. Two primary changes to it. Well, one, you have to be able to mount it, so it's got that specific 3U specification for height, which is fine. But I also have to move all the ports up front so that you can get to it when you're patching on the Eurorack. And it'll get power through the Eurorack bus, so it'll pull 5 volts from the 16-pin connector off the back of that. So one of the things I'm working on now, and you know, this is pretty close to Eurorack size, so I'm hoping to be able to like do one or both of these in that flavor. So if you wanted to have that, now like in this one, I'd have to again have the ports come up through the front, so you could patch it through the front, maybe toward the bottom, so that the cords don't interfere. But anyhow, those are things I have to work out. But the form factor is getting there, so I think I'm going to be able to do that. So that's exciting too. This is going to solve hopefully a couple of problems at once. It'll solve the I want a bigger stick problem. It'll solve the Nord problem and the Eurorack problem. In theory, let's hope that continues. So I'm getting close with this enclosure. I'm going to working on the final assembly setup, and then have to get into the coding of it. And we'll go from there. And keep in mind, too, that all of my MIDI stuff allows for firmware updates in the field. So the version 1 may not have all the functionality, but as I improve the firmware, you could load new firmware onto the device and get new features without having to send it back to me or anything, or without swapping out the hardware. It's just, it'll be a software upgrade. So that's proven to be very helpful for especially my musicians who are looking for little tweaks and changes to the feel of these devices, and that I could do in code and don't have to monkey around with the hardware. So there we go. That's what's coming up. Hopefully sooner than later. I really want to get this stuff out for the upcoming holiday season for sure. Thanks for watching.